The FAA issued a notice on Friday warning pilots to use caution when flying lower than 26,000 feet over the country. Several airlines halted flights to Venezuela as chaos and political strife grew, but a few still fly there. Loading: we continue to serve 2 airports in Venezuela, and our team is closely monitoring the situation in coordination with the FAA, American Airlines spokesman Ross Feinstein said on Monday. American flies daily from Miami to Caracas and Maracaibo. The FAA's notice stopped short of banning U.S. airlines from flying to Venezuela. The FAA generally bans flights over North Korea and 6 other nations. In a similar warning about North Korean missile tests, the FAA advises pilots and airlines to be cautious about flying over Japan and a large swath of the Pacific Ocean that is heavily used by flights between the U.S. and Asia, but does not ban such flights. Russian-backed separatists shot down Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 in 2014. Credit: Kate Jarrett. FAA warning raises comparisons to the situation in Ukraine in 2014, when a Malaysia Airlines jet flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur was shot down by a missile while flying over eastern Ukraine, where pro-Russian rebels were fighting the Ukrainian military. All 298 people on the plane died. The Netherlands and Australia blame Russia for arming the rebels suspected of firing the missile. The Dutch Safety Board said this month that airlines still need better information to make judgments about the risk of flying over war zones. More broadly, the U.S. targeted Venezuela's government with new sanctions on Monday and called on allies to freeze the assets of its state-owned oil company PDVSA after deadly violence blocked aid from reaching the crisis-hit country during the weekend. The United States also took its pressure campaign to the United Nations Security Council, asking that body to discuss the situation in Venezuela, diplomats said. The U.S. Treasury Department's sanctions were imposed on 4 Venezuelan state governors allied with the government of embattled President Nicolas Maduro, blocking any assets they control in the United States. The new sanctions were announced in Bogotá as U.S. Vice President Mike Pence and opposition leader Juan Guaidó met with members of the Lima Group, a bloc of nations from Argentina to Canada dedicated to peaceful resolution of the Venezuelan crisis. Pence said the United States would stand by Guaidó until freedom was restored to the oil-rich nation. He called for all Lima Group nations to immediately freeze PDVSA's assets and to transfer ownership of Venezuelan assets in their countries from Maduro's henchmen to Guaidó's government in waiting. He also said tougher measures were coming in the days ahead. The United States will announce even stronger sanctions on the regime's corrupt financial networks, Pence said. We will work with all of you to find every last dollar that they stole and work to return it to Venezuela. AP, Reuters. Venezuela crisis. Venezuela